Are you there?
I don't know why I'm going to do it. There we go.
You just turned your camera off the second we pressed record.
It glitched for some reason. But anyway.
Okay. Well, great start. Great start to come back after 4 months to do an episode. Welcome back to the England One Cap podcast. It's been a void in everyone's life. My name is Robert Prendergast. Your name is
Callum Shaw, and it's good to be back, mate. It's been a while. We're busy boys, but made the time today for the people.
Absolutely. Recording this on the day of the Champions League final. Hence, I'm wearing a Real Madrid top, even though I want Liverpool to win, but I have a Real Madrid top. This top I thought I bought on eBay thinking it was real, and that if it was real, it would be worth like £100 and something. I bought it at 15 and I found out it's fake. So now I can wear it. Although I've put it on today and it feels pretty real. I don't know. I'll have to.
Oh, it looks fantastic. Love that colour. Love that colour. That little kind of almost purpley colour. It's brilliant. Love it.
I would wear it today to watch the final, but then if I celebrate when Liverpool win me my bets, I'm going to look like a prat, aren't I?
Yeah, you're like one of those people who's like that they support like 6 different teams in their bio.
Yeah.
On social media.
Half and half scarves.
Yeah.
Right, let's get into it. I've been looking forward to this one for so much, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to talk about this particular player. Who is, without further ado, because I don't know how to feel that time now, Mr. Kevin Davies.
Yes,
absolute legend.
Straight off the bat, we've had some fairly average middle names, which had to follow on from Stephen Roy Corker, but Kevin Cyril Davies.
Cyril Davies
could be the new number 1 middle name in my eye, but
great, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, fantastic. Just not what I expected, but everything I needed and more in a middle name right there.
So his current what he does now, he has a management company, like an agency, and it's called KCD Management. And so I was looking at it like, I'll see if I can guess what the C is. It's got to be a middle name, surely. No, it's never about have Cyril on the back.
No, you could have had about 20 guesses. You'd have never ended up at Cyril.
No, definitely not. Or, hey, I tell you what I thought it could have been Chesterfield, like his first club.
Yeah, big Yorkshire boy. So I suppose it could have been Chesterfield, you know.
Could have been. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. We said this before recording. For me, I don't really know his Bolton career, where he spent most of his time in the Premier League. I didn't know he played for 2 Premier League teams before that. I kind of just assumed maybe they got him from the Championship or something. You know, I don't think I've ever seen him pop up in Premier League years in a Southampton or a Blackburn shirt, you know?
No, well, to be fair, I mean, we'll get into it, but it wasn't even for very long. But yeah, when I think of Kevin Davies, I imagine like a very much Jamie Vardy model, like start League 2, build way up, and then like Bolton was the Prem, but it wasn't like that at all. So
yeah, absolutely.
Dream Shard.
Because he played in the league football, he played 129 games for Chesterfield, and he scored 22 goals. But weirdly, he was playing as like a winger when he was younger. Yeah,
I read that, which I suppose kind of makes sense. Like, he's not the tallest. I imagine he had a burst of pace in his younger days, maybe. But you know, considering Davies, as we know, very much, you know, battles away, kicks away at your ankles a lot, like proper hard nut striker to deal with. Can't imagine him doing step overs on the wing.
It's just this whole style of play you would just not imagine on the edge of the pitch, you know?
Yeah, almost feels wasted out there, you know.
Yeah, it's
not sure what impact he can make.
It's so weird that he was at Chesterfield. on the wing, and even his own Wikipedia page seems to try and mug him off. Like in the Chesterfield section, it says something like, "Oh, he was far from the player he would later become," and I was like, "Well, who's written that?" I thought it was just meant to be praise of him, you know?
I think his wiki page at Chesterfield even called him unspectacular.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
what's the poor guy done? I'm sure he was pretty good for Chesterfield, but
And another thing I thought about him, right? It's like, and maybe this is just a thing of this sort of that sort of style of like sort of striker, British striker. They described him as like, oh, he's not a goal scorer, he's a goal architect, which sounds fancy, right? But do you remember what's that word they used to describe Thomas Muller to make him sound like which basically translates as like the space finder.
yeah.
You know? They make it sound like he's like a wizard or something. You know?
I know.
Rhyme Doctor of Britain. Wasn't going to say it, but I'm committed to it.
You know what? I'm going to say I've never even heard of that. So that's something new I've learned today.
Oh no, there's like a word, a specific German word. I don't know if it was made for Thomas Muller, but it's used to describe the way he plays, which is like the finder of space, you know? It makes it sound fucking mystic and anything. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Davies is like, yeah, well, he's not really meant to score goals. He's more just to really get in the way and get in the way up there a bit, you know? Put a bit.
Yeah.
We should update Kevin Davis's wiki page ourselves.
Yeah, it's only just dawned on me. We have that power, as does anyone in the world with Wikipedia. We should have done that for all our one caps that we've done so far. Because I feel like we can add a few bits, you know, just to give a bit more credibility.
I don't know what would stop us, apart from lack of viewership, to have a book deal. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think of the 39 people who saw the last video, I think 9 would buy the book.
Yeah, I think a book we did would do pretty well, you know.
I think so too. The issue is how quickly it'll become dated. That's the thing, you know.
That is true, but you can't tell me that someone's in Waterstones last minute Christmas shopping for their dad, just see an England one cap book. You know, what a great stocking filler that is.
Yeah, it would have been great. But the issue is, if he recorded this, say, 6 months ago, we would have said how Mason Greenwood would go on to play a lot more times for England. I wouldn't want that in. If that was on YouTube, I'd delete it, you know? That's why I haven't said it. But if I had that in print, wouldn't want that.
No, I know. I suppose we could always do different editions.
Yeah.
Because
I'm always checking that Joey Barton one just to make sure I didn't say anything.
Yeah, that was.
It comes out.
We played a risky game there, but no, I think we'll be all right with Barton for now.
Well, we'll just take hands of Kevin Davies right now.
Yeah.
So he left Chesterfield to go to Southampton. Moved around a bit these years, a little bit. When he was there for the season, did the Shearer Classic, went from Southampton to Blackburn Rovers, and then didn't really score many goals, to be honest. 9 goals in that season for Southampton, 1 goal in that season for Blackburn.
Yeah. Also, Blackburn signed him for like 7.5 mil in the 90s. It's quite a big deal, that, I'd say.
That is a big deal. That's a very big deal back then.
For someone not proven in the Premier League yet, Southampton wasn't great. And like we said, even his goal scoring at Chesterfield wasn't amazing, considering he wasn't in the top league either. So a lot of money. And yeah, didn't quite work out for him.
Then ended up going back to Southampton.
Yeah.
The season afterwards, with his tail between his legs. I always find it weird, the idea of going back to a club after you've left them, you know?
I know. Unless it's like you were there like a long time at first and then like you leave to like end your career somewhere, but then you have a little cameo at the end, you know, like Thierry Henry-esque or something like that.
Yeah, but I think like when you go because it hasn't worked out at the other club, I feel like Zaha going back to Palace, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Or, you know,
if
Grealish went back to Villa.
Yeah, I think Lukaku going back to Chelsea was always a bit of a weird one for me.
Yeah.
I just didn't get why he would want to do that, considering it just has not worked out whenever he was there.
Apparently, he didn't want to. He made that pretty vocal.
Trying to get his manager sacked, yeah.
During that second spell at Southampton, on loan at Millwall, which seemed like something that's a good fit.
It's just, I wasn't surprised when I saw Kevin Davies had a loan at Millwall. Yeah. You know, seems like his natural progression to becoming the Bolton legend that he is. But yeah, again, I think his record was, he didn't play many games for Millwall, but like he scored a few goals, didn't he? I think
9 games, 3 goals.
That's solid, isn't it? Solid, that
3.
Yeah, solid for the architect himself, I'd say.
Yeah, the space finder himself. All right, now clearly we just want to get through this, talk about Bolton Wanderers, because
yeah, I think it's why everyone's here. It's why we're here. Yeah, let's just get into it.
You know what, I was thinking a couple of days ago, I was like, and I've said this before, this might be the first podcast we get through without mentioning Neil Warnock. This is unrelated to what we're talking about. I'm just saying it to you now because I forget. I was like, we won't mention Neil Warnock. Why would we? Joined Twitter the other day.
Oh, it's a talk of the town. It's unbelievable. Never thought this day had come, but thinking about it, of course he was going to join Twitter after he retired. I knew he'd be all over that. I don't know if there's someone doing his tweets, like maybe, but I don't know. It seems quite personal.
I don't know. He's got to be someone helping him out. I just don't think he's with it really on that on social media. He's I think he's going on tour, going to like his old clubs, doing speeches and that. He's not coming to London because he hates London.
That's the difference. We're in London now.
Yeah, but he's doing Cardiff and Sheffield, I think. But...
I'd have to try and go. I'd love to go and watch Warnock talk.
I know. Remember how they say don't meet your heroes?
Yeah, that's true.
I'd be scared to let him down.
It's true, but I don't know. I feel with Warnock, it'd be safe. Like what you see is what you get. Like if he was a bit of a dick to me in real life, I'd love it. It'd be great. It's like that's what I want. That's what I pay my money for.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to say that because people expect.
Got to keep the Warnock streak going.
The Neil Warnock podcast. Bolton Wanderers plays 351 games in the league and 74 goals. He scores. Very, very respectable. I think I'm always looking at the 100 club for the Premier League. Whenever I'm bored at work or something, or I'm on the tube, I'll see if I can name them all. And I always forget. I don't know, Darren Bent or something. I always forget one player on the list.
Yeah.
And I think he's not in the 100 club, but he's very close. He's one of the closest to being in it, but not being in it. I think he's on 88. I think he's around there with Adebayor and Solskjaer.
Yeah, say Adebayor's like 3 goals off or something. I think he's pretty close.
Yeah, very close.
But yeah, it's funny. I always do. I think I might have said this before about doing the 100 club game on like Sporkle and stuff.
Yeah.
James Beattie's the one I always forget. Is it no? He's not 100 club. He's not 100 club. He's just one that I forget if I do all-time scorers.
I'd have been embarrassed if I said James Beattie went on video. Then that's there forever.
Well, you know what? I'm flawed. Accept it. The man I meant was Dion Dublin. That's what I always forget.
Dion Dublin.
Yeah.
That is a tough one. I forget that.
I never learn my lesson. I forget him every time, and it's always one. But yeah,
I always, because I'm so concerned about forgetting the obscure ones, I put them first, and I normally forget like quite a famous one. Because I've gone straight for the obscure ones.
Yeah, it's a good tactic, but you know.
But anyway, so I feel like those strikers on those lists have a sort of legend status just for being on that list, and I really wish Kevin Davies was on there. You know,
I know if he was 100 club and a 1 cap, you know, it's legend status in our eyes, and
absolutely,
yeah. Like you say, it just feels like a player who should be in 100 club by like 1 goal or something, or like bang on 100.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if Burnley was still in the Premier League and Sean Dyche was still manager, I'm sure he'd do a job at Burnley, wouldn't he?
Oh, he absolutely would.
He fits the mould.
Last 10 mins, trying to get a goal, get him on to rough up the centre backs.
Yeah.
It'd be brilliant.
Well, that's something that I'll mention that later on. That happened in a game I mentioned. But yeah, 351 games. He played so many cup games. They had that UEFA Cup run.
Yeah,
a couple of times. I believe he scored. He scored in the Bayern Munich game. The 2-2.
He did indeed. Yeah.
He played in the Atletico Madrid game. Don't think he scored. I think Jeff scored actually that game.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of surreal that whole run happened.
That's crazy.
I know it was only the UEFA Cup, but like there's some big teams that they played.
Yeah, that Atletico Madrid game I think was Aguero's first goal. First game in England when he played for Atletico Madrid.
Wow.
And he got sent off for spitting. I think should have researched that before saying it. I think yeah. And they play Marseille, and like remember what like a cult hero Frank Ribery was when we were younger.
Yeah.
Magazine, all the time.
Yeah, he's always been linked with that big move for ages.
Yeah.
Then became obviously big man at Bayern. But yeah, Kevin Davies. Just remember I don't know if you remember. I've kind of got faint memory, but League Cup final 2004. Middlesbrough beat Bolton.
Oh yeah.
But Kevin Davies scored in that final.
Did he?
But a consolation goal, unfortunately. As Steve McLaren's mighty Middlesbrough were the winners. But yeah.
That wasn't at Wembley, was it? That was during the Wembley construction, was it?
Yes, that was at the what's it called? Millennium Stadium.
You'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
You'd be a bit, but I don't know, I kind of got a soft spot for those Millennium finals because that was like when I first got into football. All the finals were at Millennium, not Wembley.
Yeah.
I always remember Liverpool West Ham 3-3 FA Cup.
That's the best game ever.
that is the Millennium final for me. Yeah, it's always weird because I'd got this whole Millennium final thing in my head as a young football fan, and then 2007 it was all at Wembley. I didn't like it at first, but
shout out to Dean Ashton in that final.
Yes,
won the cap.
Yes, and shout out to Paul Konchesky, not an England one cap, but
it's just nice to mention him when we can.
Yeah.
All
right, Paul.
Don't you think if I was thinking this, if there could be any, and I am biased because my family Bolton fans, but I'd probably follow them closer than other teams. If there could be a definitive, like an in-depth documentary about any football team based on like the last 15, 20 years, I don't know who would be more interesting than Bolton because it's got absolutely everything,
It does. It does. The Big Sam content, first of all, would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Starting from that, proper Premier League run. And like you say, you could start from there, Big Sam, all those Europa League Cup runs, UEFA Cup, Europa League, same thing. Demise down to the Championship, financial problems, all the way to present day when they're kind of climbing back a bit now. It'd be great. Make a film. Get some people in.
Nah.
Better than the damned United.
There's not enough. They wouldn't get enough screen time. You need make part documentary. You need Amazon knocking on the door.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel we need to talk about Kevin Davies and fouls.
Yeah, you like to foul.
Yeah, because there's a lot of brilliant stats about Kevin Davies and fouls. I think he has committed the most fouls in the Premier League, potentially.
I know he's the third most booked player of all time.
Yeah, he's third most booked, and I think
I don't know if he is. He definitely was. Yeah, you're right. He definitely was at some point. I don't know if he's been overtaken since, but
yeah, I know. Back-to-back seasons, he broke well, he broke the record for most fouls in a season. And then the following season, beat his own record for most fouls in a season.
Right.
Which is just brilliant. I love that. Yeah. It's kind of weird for a player to be associated with fouling, especially as a striker.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that is, you just expect it to be a shithouse centre back, couldn't you? Or
Proper centre mid, rough around the edges.
Surely a Leeds player beat that this season, or did you spread the load across the team?
I think it was a team effort, to be honest. And we had so many injuries and stuff that I don't think there would have been anyone that consistently was committing fouls. Because Phillips had played all season, he'd have been up there. Firpo left back, he'd have been up there. But yeah, so we had so many fouls and yellow cards this season. Almost a disgraceful amount, really. But good to see Dirty Leeds is still going strong.
Going strong. My first ever Premier League game was Bolton versus Sheffield United. 31st of March 2007. I remember it because it was James Prendergast, my brother's 11th birthday. That's why we went.
Brilliant. That's such a funny fixture, by the way.
It is a funny fixture. It also was 1-0 Bolton, Kevin Davies goal. Like, does he get any more like mid-noughties Premier League than that?
Even without the previous mention, Warnock would have got a shout there because he would have been Sheffield manager then.
Oh my god! Well,
there we go.
Wish I caught that. In my head, this is a great goal. It's in my head, and it's probably because I was seeing my first ever Premier League game. I probably didn't care about it that much then, but now I wish I could. In my head, Anelka, there's a little flicker, and Kevin Davies hits it from outside the box, and I was like, "Oh, surely I'll find this." And I watched it. It clearly can't be as good as I remember because I saw a compilation of Kevin Davies' best ever goals, and one of them was a penalty. So if one, and the goal I saw was not on there, so I must have really exaggerated this goal somehow.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. Like when you're that young, first game, I'm sure any goal seems amazing, but I think you'll find it was probably a little tap in at the back post.
I don't know. I'll have to ask around about this. I would love to be able to find it. I was really, really looking for it. Oh well, I'm sure I will.
Well, if there's any Bolton fans watching who was at Bolton v Sheffield 1-0, 2007.
Yeah.
Leave a little comment down below.
Maybe that's what I'll ask Neil Warnock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I saw two Bolton games at the Reebok. That was in 2007, pre-England call-up. I saw a post-England call-up one. Actually, funny. I think it was the last Premier League game at the Reebok, 2-2, West Brom. I tell you, he was manager of the other team, Roy Hodgson, just about to be announced England manager at the time.
Well,
all roads go through Kevin Davies.
Yeah, that's two ex-England managers mentioned now with Big Sam.
Yeah.
You asked me before we started filming whether I have anything personal to say about Kevin Davies, and I lied to you and said no. But I actually have seen Kevin Davies play, and I'll do you even better than your Kevin Davies goal. I've seen him score a brace.
Oh, great.
At the Reebok. I'm not sure if it was still called the Reebok. It was when they just been
/ University of Bolton Stadium.
Yeah, it was one of the three. I think they'd just been relegated a couple of years. I went to watch Leeds away there. Kevin Davies brace for Bolton. Luciano Becchia brace for Leeds. 2-2. Cold Tuesday night under the lights. Brilliant.
What do you need?
Fantastic. It was so cold as well. It made for Kevin Davies that night, I would say.
Yeah, what were his goals like?
I can't. One may have been a penalty, and the other, I think, was a header. But I could be chatting utter rubbish. But
maybe one was outside the box after an Anelka flick.
Yeah, well, definitely not in the Championship. But yeah, I've got a memory of him arriving middle of the box, heading one in. I've got a feeling there might have been two penalties, one for him, one for us. So But yeah, there we go. My Kevin Davies brace lives long in the memory.
Brilliant. So when was that? Wait, for Bolton, that must have been like 2013 season. That must have been his last season.
Yeah, I think it was 2012, if I'm honest, 12-13 season, and it was before Christmas, 2012.
Oh, it would have to be. It would have to be because they went down 11-12, and then he left at the end of that season. So
yeah, it was 2012. That was like my first season, like doing away games. So yeah.
Oh, great. So by that point, he played for England.
Yes, indeed.
In his England's one cap appearance. 33 years old. He was one of the oldest debutants in like a long, long time. And it was such a weird one because it wasn't like he was playing better than he'd ever had before, really, was it? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't know whether it's just because I was a bit disillusioned with England at the time, but I don't really remember Kevin Davies getting his cap. But I nearly spat my water out when I saw that it was as late in his career as it was.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had like a mid-2000s thing going, but 33.
2010, Capello. Capello was a fucking nut job, and he had no philosophy involved.
Yeah.
I think, what did we say? I think we said flavour of the month when we mentioned Boothroyd. The other month. There was only one international game in this break. Kevin Davies played, and then it was the next international fixtures. He then calls up Andy Carroll and Jay Boothroyd, and it's like, well. He's just calling out random strikers at this point, isn't he? You know.
But yeah, this is the thing. Capello, he's a very Italian man, as we all know. English wasn't great. But are you telling me that Fabio Capello himself went to watch Kevin Davies play for Bolton?
Yeah.
Probably being absolute shit out for 9 minutes and thought, yeah, I'm going to call that man up to the England team. Like, I just don't believe Capello has made that decision. Surely there was people. I mean, I know there's people that help with the selection anyway, but I just do not believe he had any part in that decision. I really don't.
I don't know what's going through that bloke's head, to be honest. There were some questionable decisions. I watched the highlights of that game, 5 minutes long. Fucking hell, it was miserable.
God, it's bad, isn't it?
It was so. It was like a Vietnam flashback, like how sad it used to be watching England games.
Yeah, just people like taking long shots straight at the keeper, crosses that just went to absolutely no one.
So many shots just going wide from
I know.
midway out on the pitch.
And the most exciting moment, apart from Kevin Davies coming on, obviously, and getting a yellow card, was I saw it, Montenegro's shot at the end, which hit the bar from like 40 yards out. I was like, oh, best bit of excitement of the whole video.
Everyone had gone home by then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, full time the crowd was half empty.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, 0-0 Montenegro. That's your one in your 21 minutes of English football, but it's still considered the proudest moment of his career, which is what we like to hear. On the England
I love to hear that. It's so funny. People asked him if he was eligible to play for Scotland, just even though they had no indication that he wasn't eligible to play for Scotland. But because he hadn't had an England club yet and he was Kevin Davies, they just assumed that he could have been eligible to play for Scotland.
Players of a certain age who haven't played for England yet.
Yeah, it's great when that happens. I haven't played for England yet, and then all of a sudden you get the Irish or the Welsh murmurs, the Scottish murmurs. Oh, it's brilliant. But yeah.
He didn't want to play for them anyway.
Yeah, he literally said, even if he was eligible through grandparents, he would still not play for Scotland or Wales. And I love that.
Yeah.
English till the end.
As well as Warnock quotes, we love a dig at Scottish football on this.
We do. Yeah. Apologies to any Scots.
Yeah, apologies. I don't know why we'll do it. Maybe it's because Scottish football's shit. Who knows?
It could be that. That and a mixture of still being bitter they got a point off us at the Euros.
Yeah.
But we could get redemption for that at the World Cup if they beat Ukraine and then Wales. So.
yes, look forward to that in Qatar.
Yeah, those qualification games soon as well, so they should be good. But yeah,
About to start. We should have more enthusiasm for the upcoming 4 Nations League games. But I'm not that bothered.
Yeah, I say, do you want me to pretend to be excited for this?
I'm not. You see all those videos of Jack Grealish partying. I'm like, good, let him. Don't make him go play for England.
Why do people have such bee in their bonnet about Grealish in particular? Seems to get it a lot, and I know he's made a few mistakes and stuff, but just from the Premier League, like, do what he wants.
Yeah, it's like I agree. I mean, he broke lockdown rules, and he was an idiot for that, wasn't he? So that I think people they bring that up every time they see him have a pint. Go on.
I was just say he's got a target on his back now.
He does have a target
with
on
the
his
media
back.
And just the general people who don't like to have fun. So
we moan so much about players being boring and not to have passion.
Yeah.
And now he's clearly absolutely loving it and living it large, hanging out with Wayne Lineker.
Yeah, I've loved it. But my favourite Grealish vid, very quickly, the last few days when it was when they were celebrating on the team bus tour thing, and he'd obviously not had any sleep and had been drinking, and he just turns into Arthur Shelby halfway through, like proper grovel, like gravel at the back of his throat, proper deep Brummie accent. Oh, it's absolutely hilarious.
Peaky Blinders reference for anyone.
Yeah, first of the series, I'd say, for Peaky Blinders reference.
Is it the last though?
Probably.
So yeah, he lost his place in the England squad to Andy Carroll and Jay Bothroyd, really, and it's a bit that Andy Carroll was quite good at the time, and if I remember correctly, I feel like Charlie Austin was in the mix that time. I think he was hitting a bit of form, and he didn't get called up at that point, but I think he was rumored to get called up. So one, you could argue that makes it weird that Davies got called up in the first place, despite these players playing well. But for him to play 20 minutes in what was already a dead 0-0, and for that to not deem as enough to get another call up, it kind of makes you question why he was there in the first place,
Yeah, I think, with all due respect, it's like a bit of like a career call up. He's giving out that one cap just to say that he played for England.
No, it is. It's certainly a career call up. And I was going to ask you I don't mind the career call up, but at the same time, I also want to call up the younger players who might then play for a different country, so they can't. And I also want to play the younger players who are going to play for England. And I also want Harry Kane to play every San Marino game and score 10, So I know I can't have it. I can't have it all, but I don't know. Career call up. It's nice, isn't it? Where's my
I think I don't have a problem with it. As long as it's not in the World Cup and Euros, like, knock yourself out. I don't really care. I don't care who plays for England in like Nation League and friendlies. Like, get the whole Mickey Mouse team going for all I care in friendlies. But yeah, I won't say much more about my opinion on his one cap because we do that at the end. But yeah, career call up, fair enough.
So when his time at Bolton comes to an end, he plays for Preston North End. And I want to be honest with you, this call might end in a second. So if this ends during my Preston North End story, I'll have to edit around it. But anyway, Preston played against Yeovil. League One at this point. I think he only had one season in the Championship. He had his last season at Bolton in the Prem, one season Championship Bolton, then went down to League One. So it was a pretty. Once he had the England cap, it all dropped quite quickly, didn't it? Really?
So I say he's doing the opposite as the rise to fame through the leagues. He was dropping down.
He plummeted quite quickly. And so when we played Preston North End in League One, came on as we were 1-0 down. He came on as an 85th minute substitute, and honestly, it's probably the most we've booed a player. To be honest, not me personally. Good. Well, technical issue. I was actually thinking of ways just to subtly, like, where was it best to start speaking again? But I'm just gonna fucking admit it. It was a technical issue. I'll tell you what. We might release this pretty close to the anniversary of the first ever one we did. Well, that was a technical.
Well. Yeah, it was a bit. Good to see that we've improved since then.
Absolutely. Well, it's nice that we know how to use Zoom after 2.5 years.
Yeah. Well, you think we'd have enough practice during COVID times. So.
Callum, Kevin Davies played for Preston after Bolton. And
he did.
They played against Yeovil. And came on again at the 85th minute, and all the Yeovil fans were chanting, "You fat bastard," at him constantly. I didn't think he was that big.
No.
Sure, he wasn't in his prime, but he was okay. And I don't know. I wish I was more like you in the sense you can remember all the Leeds games. All the Yeovil games for me just blur into one. I remember the Preston game because for whatever reason I stood in a different area. So I remember it because I saw it from a different angle. And 85th minute he comes on, bloody gets an assist, and it was a beautiful assist as well, outside of the right foot. Oof, plays it in. So still having impact right towards the end.
Yeah, it's weird. I do remember a lot of Leeds games, but it's weird you mention remembering a game because you sat somewhere different. Because the way I remember a lot of games clearly is because certain things happened either at the games or on the day that were different to like my usual routine game. So I will always, I'm not perfect, or I do. A lot of games do just blur into one for me. Speaking of which, whilst we had a little technical issue, quick update for everyone interested. Kevin Davies did score a brace in that Leeds game. I said it was a header and a penalty. I'll do you one better. They were both headers from corners.
Oh, great.
And I'm gonna give you the link after, Rob, because you'll like it. And I might even put some of the goals on Instagram just to see Davies in his prime, because they're bullet headers. Really are. They're great. They are really good. So,
Callum, well done for making use of that lull we had. I ate some Pringles, but I went on my phone. But yeah, well done. Well done.
I'm just
journalism.
Always thinking of the fans of the podcast. So that one's for you.
Plural. Fans, plural. And that pretty much wraps it all up for Kevin Davies. 70 games he played for Preston. That's a lot more than I realised, to be honest.
And his last act as a footballer was getting them promoted. Well, he didn't really do much, but he played in the playoff final when they got promoted to Championship in his last ever game. So
what a man.
There we go.
Got that Wembley
moment.
Then he was briefly manager of Southport, right? And I read about this quite a lot. BBC did this article once about Kevin Davies being Southport manager. Honestly, it's one of the best articles I've read on BBC Sport. It was just so like endearing because they were so broke, and Kevin Davies was paying for like a lot of it himself. It was like making pasta for the whole team, and it was really sweet reading about it.
Yeah.
I sacked him up later.
Yeah, really results weren't great, but I highly doubt that was his fault. It's nice he got a little stint as a manager.
It is. It doesn't seem like he has any plans to go back into it with a management agency. I always want someone like Kevin Davies to be Yeovil manager, apart from hiring I said to you the other week, actually, our new manager will probably be someone who's been a coach at maybe Exeter and Bristol who will come over. And then like 2 days later, we appointed someone who used to be a coach for Bristol. I would love us to take a gamble on a one cap.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Kevin Davies in Yeovil would be great. I feel like when people appoint those kind of ex-players who just pop up at a League Two or a random conference, it either goes one of two ways. It's either an absolute disaster,
yeah,
sacks after a few months, or they like get him promoted and like they become a bit of a cult hero.
Yeah.
As we're seeing with Joey Barton at the minute.
Yeah. Scott Brown going to Fleetwood. Watch this space.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's a match made in League One, isn't it? Okay. Let's wrap it up. Callum. Kevin Davies. Do you think he was lucky to get that England cap? Do you think he deserved more, or do you think he's just a one cap?
I think the one cap's just about right for me. But what I will say is that he should have got the one cap at a different point in his career.
Interesting.
Yeah, think it. I don't know. I feel like mid to late 2000s, well, we had some good strikers, but a lot of them were often injured. And like, we had loads of friendlies and qualifying games that were piss easy. And I refuse to believe at the height of his powers in the mid to late 2000s, he couldn't have got a one cap then. But I'm happy he got his career one cap. So I'm not going to say Kevin Davies doesn't deserve it. I feel like that could fracture our relationship. So
I wouldn't say that. Sorry, Cyril.
No, for me, one cap is about right, but should have happened earlier. It's my official analysis.
Oh, that's good football analysis. I'd give him more.
I knew you would.
I feel like I can't remember how I ended the Jay Boothroyd episode, but if Jay Boothroyd got a call up the following international break, I think Davies deserved another go. To be honest.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. Jay Boothroyd is a contributing factor in this discussion. But yeah, I'm not going to say you're outrageous saying he should have had more. We've had some pretty dire strikers get more caps or just have many caps. So, yeah, everyone can let us know.
Yeah, I'm biased though for that generation of Bolton players, to be honest. But I'll give Cyril another go in my England 11. Yeah,
good old Cyril.
Well, it's good to be back, isn't it? And it's Champions League night, and we can. By the time this comes out, there'll be a Championship promotion and a Champions League winner, and maybe even a couple of Nations League games because it might take a while to get it made. I don't know if I even watch the Nations League game, but by the time this comes out. No, by the time the Nations League game are finished, Harry Kane will be England's top goal scorer, surely.
Yeah. Yeah, you said this the other day, and I reckon so. I hope so. I really hope so.
I hope so.
But yeah, Nations League, I'll see. Maybe we'll pretend that we watched it and pretend that a player played well next time we come on in and talk about it.
I think there's been moments where we've struggled to grasp the recording element of this this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's listen back. Right. Well, it's been emotional, and it's fantastic to be back. And we'll see you all again in 4 more months.
Hopefully sooner than that.
Right. We'll be with you soon.
Cheers, all.